For 18 years, the story of Jesus vanishes from the Bible. Not a single line, no details, just silence. But what if this silence hides the greatest spiritual secret in human history? What if, during these missing years, Jesus was being trained by masters of ancient wisdom, preparing to awaken the inner Christ and reveal the truth that could set the human soul free? Today, we will lift the veils of time and dive into the secret journey of the greatest master to ever walk this planet. Welcome to the hidden path of the initiated Christ. At 12 years old, Jesus appears at the temple, astonishing wise men and teachers of the law with a wisdom far beyond his age. And then, silence. For 18 years, not a word, no records, no trace, just the veil of mystery covering his existence. But why? Why would someone destined to change the course of humanity have their story erased at the most crucial phase of their formation? Ordinary eyes see this as a gap, but the eyes of an initiate see a seed planted deep within the soil of the soul. Every great light first needs time in the womb of darkness. Just like the embryo forms in the mother's hidden womb, just like the seed germinates in the silent earth, invisible to hurried eyes. The true master is forged in the invisible. These lost years were not years of forgetfulness. They were years of spiritual gestation, years where the boy from Nazareth died and the Christ began to be born in silence. While the world spun unaware, while empires rose and fell without noticing, something far greater was being prepared. During this time, Jesus crossed inner deserts, silenced the voices of doubt, and awakened the flame of consciousness. Just like the alchemist working in secret, night after night, in search of the philosopher's stone, Jesus worked in the secret chambers of his own soul, transmuting fear into faith, flesh into spirit, man into living divine manifestation. Because the true birth of the Christ happens in the invisible. That's why those who seek Jesus only in public miracles miss the greatest miracle of all, the silent transfiguration of an ordinary man into the living expression of spirit. These hidden years are a reminder for all of us. Before manifesting our mission to the world, we must cross the desert. We must gestate the light in darkness. And you, are you willing to embrace the silence of preparation? Are you ready to walk through your own hidden years to become who you were born to be? On the shores of the Dead Sea, far from the palaces, far from the eyes of the world, a small group of silent men and women guarded one of Earth's oldest secrets, the power of spiritual purity. These were the Essenes, a sacred brotherhood, a people of unshakable discipline, and direct connection with the invisible forces of creation. According to ancient traditions, Jesus walked among them, learning their secret rituals, breathing the same air consecrated by silence and contemplation. Before healing the sick, he healed his own soul. Before speaking to the people, he learned to listen to the silence. In the scrolls of Qumran, hidden for centuries inside caves, we find deep meditation practices, purifying fasts, and the invocation of the angels of water, air, earth, and light. Rituals that later, echoed in the gestures and words of Jesus himself. For the Essenes, divine contact didn't happen in temples of stone, but inside the living temples of the soul. They knew true initiation is not public, it's silent, invisible, intimate. Thus, they shaped Jesus not just as a master of words, but as a priest of vibration, an alchemist of consciousness. Initiation begins in the invisible. Jesus was purified in the school of silence. He learned that the word that creates realities first arises in the sacred void of a clean mind. The Essenes did not prepare just a man, they prepared a living portal for spirit. And when the time came, the one who had learned to hear the whisper of the wind became the voice that would change the world forever. From a young age, Jesus understood that truth does not dwell in a single temple, but reveals itself fragmented in every sacred corner of the earth. After the escape to Egypt as a child, Jesus was enveloped by the ancient wisdom of the pharaohs. There, among the mysteries of Isis, Osiris, and Horus, he learned that life, death, and rebirth are faces of a single eternal cycle. In the silence of the pyramids, under the golden light of the desert, he began to decode the symbols that speak directly to the soul, not through words, but through vibrations. In every ancient temple, a new key was given. In every silent master, a spark was ignited. But his journey didn't end there. Ancient Tibetan manuscripts, studied by Holger Kirsten and Nicholas Notovich, indicate that Jesus traveled even further, to the sacred temples of India and the monasteries of Tibet. There he encountered the Dharma, immersed himself in the art of yoga, and understood nirvana, the state beyond ego. Maybe Jesus didn't come to found a new religion, but to unite all lights into one. Each teaching, each ritual, each whispered mantra in the mountains echoed within him, preparing his spirit for the final mission, to become the living synthesis of universal truths. Jesus carried no arrogance from an isolated tradition. He walked as one who knew that the source is one, and the paths to it are many. So before speaking of the kingdom of heaven, he walked among the gods of the Nile, among the sages of the East, among silent stones and eternal winds. Because to ignite a flame powerful enough to illuminate the entire world, one must first drink from all fountains. And maybe that's exactly what we've forgotten today, that all truths are fragments of the same sun. Not everything Jesus taught was recorded in the traditional Gospels. Some truths, perhaps the deepest ones, were kept in silence, like seeds waiting for the right eyes to bloom. In the Nag Hammadi manuscripts, discovered in the Egyptian desert in 1945, a new light shines on the mysteries of Christ's message. In these texts, like the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and the Gospel of Philip, Jesus doesn't appear as a dogma to be worshipped, but as a mirror, inviting every soul to remember who they truly are. If you know yourselves, then you will be known. These Gospels speak of an inner Christ, an alchemical process of reintegration, not about blind obedience, but about awakening consciousness. Initiation, according to Gnostic wisdom, is not about acquiring something new, but remembering what we've always been. It lives in the heart of every being. Thus, the true teaching of Jesus was a silent invitation. Look within. Be reborn in the invisible. Awaken to the kingdom that has always existed inside of us. In every parable, in every gesture, he whispered, "You are light. You are a child of eternity." Because the true spiritual path is not about building something new, but about destroying what prevents us from seeing who we already are. And maybe that's why many didn't understand his call. He didn't offer a throne in the external world, but the key to the invisible throne of the soul. The kingdom of heaven will not come with visible signs. It is already within you. Jesus didn't come just to teach. He came to awaken. The image of the cross, so widespread in the world, is not just a symbol of suffering. It's a portal of consciousness. The meeting between the vertical, the divine, and the horizontal, the human. It's at the 0 point of consciousness, in the silence between one thought and the next, that the human dissolves and the divine emerges. Christ is not a name. It's a frequency, a vibration, of union with the all. To be Christ is not a title reserved for one single being, but a latent possibility within every soul walking this earth. Every tear that purifies, every truth that is reborn, every love that transcends, ignites a fragment of this original light. The true initiate does not follow idols. He activates the divine spark that lives within. And then, in the deepest part of your being, you begin to realize that the kingdom of heaven Jesus spoke of is not a place above the clouds, not a prize after death. It is a state of being, a silent fire, a remembrance of who you already are. And what if Christ is not someone you must worship, but your own possibility of enlightenment? Christ lives where the illusion of separation dies. He appears when the ego falls silent, and the soul remembers it's made of the same light that created stars. Don't look outside, look within. True initiation was always within you. In the hidden years of Jesus, maybe lies the key to your own spiritual journey. You don't need to wait 18 more years. You can start now. Tell me in the comments, which school do you believe influenced Jesus the most? Egypt, India, the Essenes? And most importantly, are you ready to awaken the Christ within you? If this content resonated with you, leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more cosmic wisdom.